President George Bush is going to attend the Beijing Olympics. He's the first president ever to attend the Olympics on foreign soil. He's made some statements, a few speeches where he's alluded to very mildly the fact that the Chinese may not be a total democracy and they may repress freedoms. The Chinese, of course, retort. But as they say, the proof is in the pudding. And George Bush is savvy enough to know that China is the emerging country economically, militarily, and every other way. If China continues to develop, it's going to be the country that is going to surpass every country in the world. So George Bush is savvy enough to know that, and that's why he's showing up, flying halfway around the world to attend the Beijing Olympics, where he says he's going to watch sports for 4 days. A number of human rights groups, of course, are quite upset and say, where's the president's, where's his priorities lie? Well, obviously his priorities lie with China and making sure that although we say a few things as a government and he is our leader of the United States, that we show up anyway and pay and be obedient to a certain extent and bow a knee to the Chinese. Of course, there are some policymakers, and a number of policymakers are very concerned what's happened because the trade deficit with China is into the billions and billions and billions, and as a number of people know and have reported organizations, this has cost millions of jobs in America, the trade deficit alone. You can't buy anything in an American store if it ain't made in China, and that's the absolute truth. Jesus dolls that Christians hand out frequently, rather strange-looking Jesus dolls, made in China. Can you believe that? These are actually made in China. I wonder sometimes if half of us were to lift up our shirts, we may have a made in China stamp on our stomachs. You can't get around it. Walmart, the company that said they were going to only buy American, is one of the leading. Let's go back. Sam Walton started Walmart saying that it was going to be a company that would buy American. Walmart is actually responsible for 9% of the total products brought in from China. This includes food, computers, toys, or whatever. That's $27 billion worth of goods. Try and experiment, and some families have tried this. They've tried to live a year without buying Chinese products. They find it to be totally impossible. So what can be done? A number of private interest groups have said to Congress, we've got to have some laws. We've got to do something about the trade deficit. We've got to do something about the products coming into the country. There have been a few laws proposed in Congress, and nothing's been done. Our president doesn't do anything. So don't expect anything from our leaders. The reality is, you can't get around it. You're going to buy things made in China. People forget, and I always emphasize this, the Constitution starts out with those three beautiful words, we the people. The American people have lost control of their government. We've given our government over to the large corporations who are greedy. They want to make money off the Olympics, off all the products that the Chinese bring in, or they help the Chinese make in sweatshops around the world. We just need to take responsibility. I would say there are stores that I don't go into because I know everything in there is made in China. China is an oppressive country. It's a communist regime. They've locked up thousands of their own citizens before the Beijing Olympics because they want free speech rights, and they're protesting what's happening in China. There are some small things we can do, but every time we see these things happening, every time that we hear the Chinese doing something else, and occasionally it pops up in our corporate media news, we need to object. We need to write our congressman. We need to go to our local city councils and say, how can we avoid the Chinese trap? And unless we do something, take the power in our own hands, we might as well forget it, folks. We're going to be under the influence of China in every possible way.
My baby.